Hello, ladies. Welcome to another week of 435 Online. I'm so excited about the good conversations that you two are having and the good things that you guys are finding when you're going out for your weeks of instruction and your discussion leads. So really quick, I just want to check in on kind of where we are with everything. So if I'm looking at our list of things, you both have submitted your poverty, how does poverty affect student engagement article, so we're good there. Summer turned in what she needed for week 4. I've gotten week 5 things from Dana. You both were posting and replying for chapters 5 and 6 discussion board. And then you had to choose one chapter for chapter 7, 8, or 9, wrapping it up quiz. So Dana, you did chapter 7 and did not do 8 and 9, but it counted them in as a 0. So I went into the grade book and took those out. So that should look okay. And then Summer, you had done all 3. So I just kept your highest grade, which was chapter 8. And then, so kind of where we are now, that's all in the past up until this week. And so what we're working on in week 5 is you guys are still working on finding a current trends in math instruction or math teaching or elementary math, any kind of recent article, I would say within like the last 5 years. You guys are looking for that. It's not due until the end of week 6, but you're just kind of on the lookout for that. So this is Dana's week to be the discussion lead. So it's about chapters 10, 11, and 12. And she has provided, and I've uploaded in the week 5 folder, a PowerPoint presentation for her week, as well as another attachment that you will open up in a Word document that has an activity to do with a video to support that. And then there's also a discussion board prompt on that attachment, but I've cut and pasted that into an actual discussion board on the discussion board area. So there will be a link to that as well. And then, let's see, chapter 10, 11, 12, wrapping it up quiz. So we're going to just do the same thing we did last week since Dana's got some good stuff for you to work on. You can choose 10, 11, or 12, or if you want to take all 3 and keep the highest score, that would be just fine as well. So if we're looking at week 5, I'm going to come over here and go into our weekly content. Oh, let me go into the student view. It might look a little better. I do that every time I make this video for you guys. All right, student view. I'm going to go into our weekly content. We're going to go down to week 5 out of 8 already. That's crazy. So as I said here, you guys have chapters 10, 11, and 12 this week. And so when you go into each of those, just like normal, you'll have your wrapping it up quiz that you'll have access to. And then here is Dana's week 5 presentation. It will open up as an attachment in another window, so you'll be able to see that. It may not work on my computer right now because I don't have Microsoft downloaded on here, but it should open up. I've seen it, so it looks great. Thank you for making that, Dana. Then we've also got the week 5 discussion and activity. Again, we'll download a Microsoft Word document, and then it'll take you to a link to watch the video and then a lesson planning activity that you'll complete Summer for that video that you have a link to. So you have the activity, and then if you go into your discussion board, which I'll build in a link here for your discussion board, but if you go into the discussion board area on your left-hand column, you'll see it as well. So I moved things around to where the oldest discussion board is now on the bottom and the most recent is on the top, so we don't have to look around for it. So you have week 5 discussion, and here is Dana's question that relates to her chapters and her content. And so you guys will, Summer will post and Dana will reply. All right, we've got all of that. Now, the other thing that I wanted to remind you is when you go into your weekly content, I said that the trends in math is due in week 6, and so that's where this article reflection rubric is. for that article reflection. So once you're finding an article, the reflection and rubric is here. So you can click on that to see. It's the same rubric for any article reflection. So that is here. And I can upload a Turnitin link in week 6 as well. I'm going to go back to week 5 and just touch base for a second on this math instruction observation. So we talked about this at the very beginning because I wanted you guys to make sure that you were in a situation where you were going to be able to observe math. So for the math instruction observation, this is a 50-point task. Technically the rubric gets you to 48, you just get 2 extra points for finishing it. So you're going to observe a math lesson within your classroom or school. If you don't see math in your classroom, then you will go to another classroom to observe it. And you're going to write a reflection on the lesson. Be about 2 pages, the details are all right here, and what I want to hear from you in your reflection is, what is the standard that the teacher is teaching? What standards of mathematical practice are the teachers doing or having the students do, or what are they teaching to? That you can find in week 1. A summary of the lesson. So what is the teacher doing while you're watching? What is the student doing while you're watching? Students. And then a reflection of the lesson to include the percentage of students who understood the standard by the end of the lesson. So if you're in a classroom that doesn't really have an assessment at the end of the lesson, which doesn't have to be a formal assessment, it could be an exit ticket, then you may not know this, but I want you to talk to that point in your reflection. So it's important as teachers, especially in math, that we know if our students understood the content that we just taught about. So make sure that you speak to that, the percentage of students who understood the content or the standard at the end of the lesson. So again, here are all the pieces, the details of the setup, the summary, a clear connection to course content and classroom observation. So in your reflection, you're going to connect to some of the chapters that we've already read. Probably will be mostly the first 6 chapters where it's really about the planning and instruction and assessment, but you could write to the connection of the chapter within the textbook from 7 or 8 all the way through 19 that are specific to a topic. And then implications for teacher and students. So what does, for this observation, what is happening? The way the teacher's teaching, what does that mean for students? Are they able to show what they know, or is the teacher just asking questions and one student is answering, so you know for sure that student gets it or doesn't, but we don't really know about the others? A reflection and then questions. So what is a question that is raised from you as you're observing or as you're reflecting on the observation? What are some questions that you may have, either about that particular observation or a question that may be prompted for your future classroom? So that is the math observation. That is due this Sunday at 11:59, along with your wrapping it up quiz for chapters 10, 11, or 12. So those are the only 2 things that have to be submitted or uploaded or completed. Everything else is the discussion board, the activity. So those are your tasks. So I will go through them very quickly in number order just so that you have them, and then that will be it for this week. So you're number 1, working on finding your trends article. Number 2, reading chapters 10, 11, 12. Number 3, working on your wrapping it up for 10, 11, or 12. Number 4, you're working on your week 5 discussion board from Dana. And then number 5, you're working on your activity from Dana. 6, you're also referring to that PowerPoint from Dana. And 7, you're working on your observation that's due Sunday at 11:59. So hopefully this week we're getting a little bit further, as you can see with the titles of chapters 10, 11, and 12. We're getting a little bit further down the progression of mathematical concepts. So it sounds to me from your discussions that you both are in primary classrooms or lower elementary classrooms. So we're still kind of in an area chapters 10, maybe 11, where it may be relevant to your classroom, but we may be starting to get outside of our comfort zone. If you guys are elementary, primary level, and may not be working with students in the higher level concepts as far as the math progressions go. So as we get into chapters 11, 12, 13, it may be content that you're not teaching or working with right now, so it might be a little unfamiliar, so we will work with that for sure. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. You're doing a great job getting everything finished. Always send me an email if you have any questions. I appreciate your hard work these last 2 weeks to do the extra work to plan and prepare as the discussion lead. So all grades at the end of this week should be up and final. So hopefully everything will be updated and ready to go. Thank you guys. I hope you're having a great start to the school year and you're enjoying this and you're able to apply some of this information in your role. Have a great week.